The 0.803 patch just went live on Brotato 2 days ago. With that, we got 13 new items, 3 new weapons, as well as 4 new characters. I've had a chance to do a bunch of D5 clears with all the new items and characters, and I'm excited to help you rank them. We'll show off which ones are really strong and which ones you may want to skip. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Today we're going to do a run through of all the new items and characters that have been released in Brotato. I did do an overview of these items while they were still in beta, and some of these have changed quite significantly. A lot of the items were either buffed or nerfed, and I've also had a chance to actually play with all these items and characters there, and I have a much better understanding of which ones are good and which ones may not be so. If you really just want to see the final versions of the items and characters, fret not, I have put timestamps in the video below where you can go ahead and skip ahead and just see the new items. That said, excited to share my thoughts as I've had a chance to play through a bunch of times. So let's go ahead and move to the characters. In the new patch, we got 4 new characters: the Cyborg, the Lich, the Glutton, and Jack. Ranking these in terms of strength, I think Cyborg is definitely the strongest, followed closely by Lich. Glutton's kind of in the middle, and I do think Jack is a pretty challenging character. With Cyborg, you get that really impressive 250% range scaling, and this character has a really high top end. In a good build, it's not uncommon to hit 120, 130 range damage using Cyborg, and being able to kill both the bosses at the end of the game in like 8 or 9 seconds. That said, this character is a little boom or bust. Cyborg really doesn't hit their upper strength if you don't find turrets, so it's a little RNG based. That said, I think you can win pretty much every run on this, even with a bad roll, and you can always use planks as a way to sort of ameliorate the disadvantage of not finding turrets. Lich is very strong, starting with 10 regen, 10 lifesteal. It's hard to die. This character is very, very robust and is very durable. The sort of random heal mechanic is actually pretty good, especially if you can find something like a Sad Tomato or an item like Blood Bag or Bloody Hand that damages you. Glutton, I think, is like a middle tier character, decent. The explosion is pretty good, and starting with that much luck is a huge boon. Downside is 25% item price is a pretty steep penalty, so it's hard to really go absolutely crazy on this character just because items are so expensive. But I do think Glutton, has some advantages, has some disadvantages, is about medium strength. I do think Jack is one of the most challenging characters in the game. 250% enemy health and 50% enemy damage makes elites very, very difficult. On top of that, you only fight elite waves, so there's no escaping that really difficult wave 11 or wave 12 elite. That said, if you're struggling on this character, try using laser pistols. I've uploaded guides for all 4 of these characters to show you how you can win easily and efficiently. Now let's move to the items. Here, we're going to pause for just a second. These are all the new items added in Brotato in their final state. And again, some of these have changed quite a bit from the beta. Some were nerfed pretty hard, and some were actually buffed substantially. So here you can see all the items. Some pretty good ones in here, and then some ones I just think are okay. I would say this is the patch of B tier items. A lot of these items, like Riposte, Tentacle, they're good. They're just not like, oh my gosh, good, or build around me good. So I went ahead and ranked all these. We'll talk through this and help you understand why some of these items are good and where they fit into your builds. I think Bloody Hand is very strong. It's the strongest item in the new patch. I'd say it's like A+ or S- tier. 12% lifesteal, very, very good. And lifesteal for every 2% damage for every 1% lifesteal you have is very, very good. You usually want to be in lifesteal anyway, and the lifesteal that comes on the hand definitely pays for, and then some, that 1 damage per second you do take. That said, when this was 3% damage instead of 2 in the beta patch, I do think it was S tier. As it is, it's still pretty good. 24% damage at a negligible disadvantage. It's pretty good. That said, what stops it from truly being S tier is it's not as strong as something like a Baby in a Beard, Community Support, Hoodie, and if you're not already in lifesteal, it's kind of like a Glass Cannon, right? Which gives you 25% damage at 3% armor, which is can be a worse penalty, can be a better penalty. Again, very strong item, just not like amazingly strong. Extra Stomach, hard one to rank. If you get it early, it's very good. If you get it late, kind of like an Anvil or a Leaf, it's not that good. I would think of this as like 3 to 5 max health per wave. If you get that wave 15, and you get 25 extra health with no downside, yeah, that's very, very strong. That said, wave 19, not nearly as good. I am sort of disappointed they capped that from the beta to the final patch at max 10 HP per wave, because there were kind of some fun ways to break this, and I don't think that was common enough or it was worth capping. So I'm sort of sad to see that silliness go. Next up, Jousting Lance. Really good item, definitely the best of the new weapons. Scales off of speed, which is very fun. Gives you speed on the item, which is also very fun, and has a really nice 2 times critical chance modifier, so it can really hit for a lot. What I also like about this weapon is it has the sort of spear attack motion, so it attacks in a line and it can hit a lot of enemies at once, which again makes it a strong, fun weapon. Really, really good on a bunch of different characters. Obviously, with Speedy, this weapon is just insane. I like Bait as well, plus 8% damage, but you have to deal with a tough wave of enemies that spawn in your next wave, and those enemies are pretty brutal. So if you're like negative armor or you're behind, you may not want to take it. That said, it's just a flat 8% damage. I think Cyclops Worm is one of the best items in the game at 12% damage at 12 range being lost. And again, this is like 75% of that, but no downside. So I do like bait a lot. Peacock is one of the 2 items that I really underrated before I played with it. Flat 25% XP gain, 100% XP gain your next wave, and 50% more enemy damage that next wave. The way I'd think about this is, what if we just got 2.5, 2 or 3, depending on where we are, level ups for an item price? As in, would you pay 200 materials for 2.5 levels now? The more I thought about it, the more I realized I probably would, because if we can get epic or legendary level ups, that's quite a lot of stats for an item price. In addition, you get these levels now, which helps you scale, which helps you snowball. So I do like Peacock a lot. Lucky Coin, I put it between A and B. It's a good item. Luck is very strong in this game. You do lose some armor. If you're already in crit, this is really, really strong. And that said, I don't think this is that strong because it doesn't help you now if you're not in crit. And if you are in crit, but you get on wave 18, you're not going to have a lot of chances to take advantage of that luck. So I do think this item is generally very good. It just doesn't really change the game that much. Silver Bullet is one of the items I think I most underrated. Originally, I wasn't a huge fan of this because I normally am able to kill bosses and elites efficiently, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized and the more I played with it, the hardest parts in the game are the wave 11 and 12 elite and the final bosses. So getting a sort of huge damage buff at the most challenging parts in the game is pretty good. I mean, it helps you kind of deal with those threats relatively efficiently. So I do like Silver Bullet. It's a pretty good item. It's just very narrow in its use. When it's good, it's very, very good, but there's also times where it does nothing. So use your judgment. Adrenaline, another item that was buffed pretty substantially from the beta by adding a flat 5% dodge. You usually do want to add dodge. So I like this because it gives you that dodge and it gives you a good benefit for dodging. Obviously broken on really dodge heavy characters, but if you're playing melee, you'll probably be happy to take this item. Only downside, it's just kind of expensive. Tentacle. 3% crit chance. The way you should think about crit chance is if your weapons have 2 times crit modifiers, crit chance equals percent damage. So 3% crit chance on average over a wave gives you 3% more damage. Plus it's got this nice bonus of a chance to heal when you kill an enemy with a crit. All in all, this item is usually relatively affordable. I believe it has a low base price, but again, it's all upside. It's not gonna pull you in the crit. I'm not going to see a tentacle and go, oh my gosh, now I'm going hard in the crit like I would a hunting trophy, but it's all upside and this item can be pretty good. Crit is generally good in this game. On the C tier, I have spicy sauce as C. I think the definition of a C tier item is something like Broken Mouth, 5 HP at -1 regen. This is a little more expensive being rare, but there's no downside. I do think the consumable explosion that scales 50% with your health is not that good, but at the end of the day, it's 3 extra max HP with no downside and a small sort of benefit. So it's decent. You want to pick it up, but you're not going to go out of your way to. Revolver, I think, is a pretty mid weapon. I mean, it's got some narrow uses. It can be pretty good on Jack. That said, high single target damage in this game isn't that good. You're going to kill most enemies in one hit with this anyway. So, it scales well, good crit modifier, good base damage. It's just not really equipped for most of the challenges you face in Brotato. So not bad, but I'm not going out of my way to take it. Post, another medium item. You never be mad with more melee damage. And if that melee damage can hit an enemy near you, when you dodge, that's pretty good. That 300% melee scaling is quite good. The thing is, even in the most dodge heavy builds, like this is super, super strong on Ghost. Like I generally don't want to be dodging too much in a wave because I'm dodging a lot. It means I'm not playing well and I'm getting hit. For me, dodge is always like a fail safe. Something that rewards dodge, I just don't think as good as you might initially think. But again, it's 2 free melee damage if you're playing melee, and that is always good. Improved tools. One of the harder items to rank as well. You're never going to be upset with a flat 10% attack speed. Attack speed is also a strong stat. On Engineer, this is an S++ item. I mean, making your turrets that much more effective is really, really good. But there's only 3 characters that really regularly use turrets, which are Cyborg, Engineer, and Streamer. So on those characters, yeah, it's really good. I mean, this is very, very good on Streamer. The downside is, for other characters, it's just 10% attack, and that's good. It's just expensive in a epic item. For example, Coffee is 10% attack speed at 2% damage. So there is a bit of a negative there. However, Coffee costs a third of this, right? So this is a little more expensive. I just don't think it's worth what it does at epic price. However, if you see it in a crate, if you're going crazy and harvesting, you got extra money, you're going to take it. Pruners I put between C and D. I think if we're just going to talk about the patch overall, they added a lot of fruit mechanics, and obviously the pruner was part of that. Things that trigger or happen when you pick up a consumer. If you're playing Glutton, if you're playing the new farmer, yeah, pruners are pretty damn good. The problem is there's not a lot of synergies outside of that. The only 2 items that actually work off fruits are the spicy sauce and the extra stomach. The extra stomach is really, really good, and the spicy sauce is not, which means that if you have pruners using those items, yeah, they're good, but there's not enough fruit mechanics where I'm going to take pruners to take advantage of that unless I'm specifically playing one of the very few characters that starts with those mechanics. So again, on a few characters, very, very good. If you're not playing one of those characters, there's not enough items to make you want to take pruners, starting off. That said, buffing this with that support tag, so you start with harvesting, is pretty good. Again, you're going to use this on a couple of characters, but you're probably not going to use it playing normal characters. Garden, I almost put this at F tier. Garden is not good. It's expensive, high base cost, spawns a fruit. If you're on one of those narrow characters that takes advantage of it, I still don't think it's that good, just because the fruit spawns so infrequently. Not good. Only reason I didn't immediately rank it as F is because it doesn't do anything bad for you. Like, it doesn't hurt you. It's just very expensive and doesn't do anything. Giant Spelt, probably my most controversial pick. I just don't think this item is that good. It's extremely good on Jack, who you unlock it from. On normal characters, I don't think it's that good. The problem with this is dealing 10% of an enemy's current health or 1% on bosses or elites just isn't that much, because on normal enemies, you end up killing them on so few hits that like it's not usually going to reduce the number of shots you need to kill an enemy. And it seems like it'd be good against bosses, but when you get that boss to 40, 30% health, because it's percentage of how much is left, it's just not doing much damage. And the reality is, if I'm critting a boss 50, 60 times, I've probably already killed that boss or elite, so it's of negligible use. There's no drawback, so if you're already in crit, you're probably going to pick it up. Likewise, even if you have a little crit and you see it from a crate, you're going to take it. It's just I can't really imagine many times where I'm going to pay legendary item price to pick up something like this, versus a hoodie, versus a bloody hand, versus something like that. So again, not bad. It's just too expensive for what it does. Anyway, I hope you did find this overview of all the items helpful. Let me know what I got right. Let me know what I got wrong. Again, excited to be making some analytical Brotato content for you all. So if you've enjoyed this, do me a solid. Just go ahead and like and subscribe so I can get some of these videos up and running for everybody. As always, we're going to have some more guided runs using all the new and old characters, as well as doing some challenge and busted runs. So thanks for watching and take care.